Just Eve. Just Eve.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to my show. I'm Eve. And tonight, the very last day of January 2025. Well, it's a lot to be said about nothing, maybe, but I wanted to start here.
What's your name?
Seda.
What's your name?
Seda.
Seda what? Do you have a first and last name?
Sam.
Seda Sam?
Yes.
Where you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported?
But I've been in the system before.
B&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Shots fired.
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk about lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom says it.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
What's your name?
Okay, so if you've been under a rock since President Trump has taken over, since that guy Tom became the new border czar, well, Dr. Phil's been joining him on these ICE raids, and I don't know what to make of this, honestly. I mean, Dr. Phil is he's not a medical doctor, right? And we all kind of were introduced to Dr. Phil from his time under Oprah, and then, well, he's the white guy and she's not, so I guess the tables turn a little bit. He does hold a PhD in clinical psychology. Actually, when I was in school way back long ago, he had a couple books that we actually had to get for class. We studied his methods, and I can't say that as a person who likes solutions, a solutions-based person, that his tactics are something that everybody can use. But now in 2025, where it seems like anybody and everybody who used to be a person that everybody knows, they want to be that person again. They want to be him, right? And I don't know if Dr. Phil is ever him as much as he was the guy that got his shine from Oprah. And they wanted Oprah to be our girl. Like, we were supposed to cape wear for her and champion her because of all of the adversity. But then you find that she's done some really strange things, and maybe it's the company you keep, and that's why you start doing strange things. I listen to Dr. Winters when I'm not live with him on Wednesdays, and he talks about CAIDS, about how a lot of us, if not all of us, are suffering from this culturally acquired deficiency. But when you don't label it, well, you can't do anything with it. I wanted to show Dr. Phil and ICE because, well, some of these people know better. Like, this isn't the first time that they're getting caught up. This isn't the first time that they're getting shipped out. This is not the first crime. The first crime is when you come over here and you don't do things with the paperwork. That's the first crime. And then you perpetuate that crime by not doing the paperwork that you know that you should be doing. I have zero empathy or sympathy for a person who's been over here for 20 years and they haven't done the things. I mean, we are a country that is built on a system of checks and balances. And since no one was checking if things were being balanced, well, we've got all sorts of criminals over here, and it's a wonder that we're able to find any of them. But then they just start doing stupid shit and then being confused when they get caught.
Seda.
Seda what? Do you have a first and last name?
Sam.
Seda Sam?
Yes.
Where you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where were you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported.
But I've been in the system before.
Before from the United States? You've been deported before from the United States?
Thailand.
Where are you from?
Where are you from? How many times have you heard that by a person who probably doesn't season their food or wash their bodies with soap and or a washcloth? I mean, really, they want everybody to be so ethnic and foreign and exotic, and then you find out that the melanated person that you're talking to with the good hair comes from the south side of Chicago, and they ain't never been nowhere but Chicago. But where are you from? Where are your people from? Where are you originally from? They don't ask us that anymore. I think they were tired of us telling them that they know good and damn well that most of the people that they're asking have not traveled further than their home state, if that. I mean, some of us, we don't even have the privilege of getting to the beach if you live in a state that's got a beach. That's not my story, but I have had students who live 20 minutes away from the beach, have not been to the beach because they can't get there. The public transportation is not as reliable as you think it would be. But that's just for, Americans. When you're not an American, you get all sorts of privileges and benefits. And, well, Mr. Thailand knew exactly what he was asking him, but he chose to play stupid.
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You've been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never been deported.
But I've been in the system before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been charged with
Charged where?
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not talking about lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom says it.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
And I guess that's where we're going to have to start our conversation, because a lot of people, well, their parents are citizens, and they just, I guess, thought that it extends across the board. I mean, is that really where we are, where people don't want to do the homework because is it too hard for them? I mean, really, it's not a new occurrence. The military has actually been deporting non-citizens for a long time. I mean, 2018 was an article I read this week on one of my shows, and it's astounding that you can have a person who knows that they're breaking the law being here, join the military thinking that that makes it all better, and then you get out the military and you're just doing all sorts of crime. Like, what are you doing? Why so much criminal activity and behavior? They want Black America to always put on the hat of the criminal, of the pothead, of the person who didn't go back to school, of the person who never finished school. That's not our story, y'all. And as much as our parents and grandparents were probably having to work a different shift, it's not their story either. When we don't have resources, tangibles, and benefits, it's really hard to do things. The last 4 years, America's been starving under Joe Biden's advisement and presidency, and now we've got the boogeyman, the orange man, and Tom going around saying that they're going to deport all sorts of people, and they're going to start with the criminals, of course. Obviously, you're going to have some confused Black Americans saying, they're coming for us next. I wish I could smack every single person who says that. I mean, I wish I could have a wide smack so I could smack all of you at the same time, because where are they going to send us? Oh, you're talking about how there's African countries and other countries saying that they'll take the people that America wants to get rid of. But then what about the countries who have actual people who need to go back? I mean, did you hear about Colombia? Colombia was like, nope, we're not taking them. And Trump said, oh, really? Oh, you're not going to take them? Okay, how about this little tariff. And if you don't comply, you're gonna have another one. And I'm pretty sure Colombia let them planes land. But maybe that's the biggest distraction going on. You've got these people crashing with the planes, and then, well, what were we just hearing about the planes? Oh, right, the Democrats wanted us to deport them with decency, first class trips and tickets back to wherever with money and food and everything set up so that they can start their life back home. Trump put them people on military planes and said, I don't give a shit what the Democrats told you. I don't give a shit that you had an appointment with Border Patrol and with Customs today. Your appointment is canceled, and you cannot pass go and collect them $200. And I love it. I love everything about it, because it is when everybody is uncomfortable that we finally can get a good grasp of the environment. We can kind of gauge really where things are. And the 14th Amendment, I've read it a few times, specifically this week, so I won't belabor it as much. As if you haven't read the 14th Amendment for yourself, you should do that, because people like to nitpick and eat and spit out the bones. I don't know. I think some things you might need to have the entire meal so that you can really get a good understanding, so that you can digest it and it goes down the right way. We've been trying to digest, and America has been trying to digest undigestible things for a little while. And as the founding rapists so eloquently put in their living document, that would be the Constitution, that would be the body of laws that our country chooses to follow. Well, it's alive. And every time they change it, I don't know if it's making the country great, if it's doing something bad, as much as we're just allowing these things to happen. Think back to Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Think back to times where maybe it wasn't so bad, but people didn't get the benefit of saying that they were free and how they want to be. Look at today. If my sons and I and our family lived in California and they decided that they wanted to be a purple people eater, and they went to school and told teacher, I think I'm a purple people eater. And teacher goes, yeah, of course you are, because that's how you feel. And if that's how you feel, then that's what you are. We won't tell your parents, though. It's a slippery slope, because how did we get here? How do we go from wanting to love whoever we want consensually, of course, to the babies are getting attacked? And I don't understand. What's going on in the chat? Shout out to my good brother Yoshi, Nana Henderson, Sister Andito, Modern Gadget Review, and to you on Twitter listening to me now. I really hope that this conversation tickles your fancy, because if you are supposed to be here, there are people who are not. And there are people who are expecting you to not know what the hell is going on. Really, if you turn on your social media apps, they're probably not talking about the deportations as much as they are trying to talk about these plane crashes. And I'm not saying that there's nothing to be said about the crashes. I'm sure that there's plenty to be said about the crashes. From people who are not supposed to have the job because they didn't have the experience or the skill, to people who think that they know everything. Haven't we had enough of these authorities? You have to kill a whole bunch of people on your executive trip to DC and in your Black Hawk helicopter, and I don't know all the facts, and apparently they also don't know all the facts. But yeah, Modern Gadget, there's more. It's not just DC, it was Philadelphia, and then what, another one happened? What? That's insane. But if the goal is to make the country unawares of all of the movement, then that means that we need to not be unawares. It actually means that we need to take a pause and pay attention to what's being done. Operation Wetback happened so long ago, and about 1 million Mexican people were relocated. That's what they like to say, relocated. Never mind the fact that probably all million of those Mexicans came back. It didn't really do what they thought it was going to do as much as it was the battle cry to point and blame. That's the bad guy over there. That's the guy taking away your rights. And you niggas, if you don't be on our side, then we're not going to make you tacos anymore. I'm sorry, that's happened today. I saw that on TikTok today. There's a bunch of Mexicans crying in Espanol, and the mariachi band is not playing loud enough for them. They're talking about they're not going to make our tacos and our burritos. What? I've been to a few black spots, and they make better tacos. But, I mean, isn't that what we do? We put the flavor that everybody wants on our own shit. We can even make their stuff taste good, make it digestible. So let's use their stuff and let's make it digestible. I was looking at the different laws that have transpired over the last, 400 plus years. And the most recent law was a change in the Constitution. At least this is the one I want to talk about tonight. The 27th Amendment, I want to say. Do you know what the 27th Amendment is? I'll tell you. The text for the 27th Amendment is no law varying the compensation for the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until, something like 2 years after the fact. But essentially, this is about Congress's pay. The last time they changed the law, our living law document, the Constitution, was in 1992. That, I was 5 in 1992. How old were y'all in 1992? When I was 5 years old and the government could have been doing things that made sense for America, they said, no, we need to make sure that our pay's not going to have a trickle-down effect that benefits people. We need to make sure that we can work 12 days a year and still get paid 6 figures, and we need to put it in the law. Let's write it down. Let's take a picture. I'm so past people who have been fighting the same fight, expecting a different result when you could change. We could change. It's a couple little changes that I think we could make as an American body of people that would make things very uncomfortable for people who are not supposed to be here. I mean, I know. And Dewan, don't yell at me later, but look, we have a really hard time boycotting, right? We can't protest for shit, because back in the bus boycotts, you got your ass whooped if you decided to go against the flock. And while we don't have these types of consequences and stipulations in 2025 because everybody's a snowflake, and how dare you tell me I can't ride the bus, I need to get to work. Can you imagine if Black America said, fuck this job, they need to cut the check? I mean, really, the amount of public service work that Black America does. If we just said, fuck this job, pay us, do you really think that they wouldn't pay us? You think that they can bring in the new help that fast? Trump is kicking them out. This is an excellent time for us to say, fuck you, pay me. But I know that's like the super duper easy way, right? Let's talk about maybe not the super, super, super easy way. Let's talk about maybe a harder way. The way that includes us challenging our politicians. And if you participate in their system, then you are owed. They work for you. And me, because I pay taxes, but I didn't vote for anybody because they did not say, Eve, your Black American life and your Black minis' lives matter to me. Vote for me because I'm going to make it better. No, they didn't do that. So I said, my couch is very comfortable. I think I'm going to vote for this motherfucker right here. And I hit the little recline button and I voted for the couch. And some of y'all don't have to get as deep as me. You didn't vote for the couch as much as you said. Nothing has ever made sense with their system. So why should I go out of my way? I mean, really, the job gave me off. I'm going to take my time off And, let me go get one of them I voted stickers just in case they try to say, well, you weren't voting today, so you need to get a demerit. Y'all got jobs that have demerits? I used to have a job that gave demerits. The fuck is that? It's just a control thing. People wanting to control our time. And if we are people who've always been able to do things faster and better than everybody else, then your time doesn't matter. Just as long as it gets done when it needs to get done, then I've got time for me. And, well, since I don't actually have any time for me, I would love for us to get on one accord about one thing. And then once the resources, benefits, and tangibles start trickling in, we can start deviating and do the things that we like, that maybe everybody doesn't like, but it's your thing. Sister Andito, I don't know what's your thing, but once you get your check, if you want to go buy some Jordans and smoke a blunt and drink some whiskey, who the fuck cares? I don't care. I don't give a shit. But you'll have people like Dr. Omar saying that Black America's not ready. We're not ready. Never mind the fact that he's been asking for grit money, not begging for your Quaker Oats grit money. Because he needs to put out this school, don't you know? This school that look, I'm sorry. I think he went to an abandoned building. I think that he had some sort of Blair Witch Project camera setup going on. I think that he looked at all of the dilapidation of that building and made some money off of you niggas. And that's okay, because you, like me at a point, were green. You didn't realize that our fight it's profitable. It's so profitable that people say that, oh, he's grifting and they're grifting and it's a grift. If I can go to Walmart and buy anything Juneteenth, why? What? If I can go to the beauty supply store owned by the Asians and pick up anything red, black, and green, what? We can't benefit off of ours, but these other groups get to benefit off of ours. I would love to see a nigga food truck on Cinco de Mayo or Taco Tuesdays. I haven't seen it. I've been to Black businesses that have different forms of food and different styles of cuisine. And again, we know how to do some things. But I haven't seen, at least not in my area, like a Black, Hispanic, Mexican food truck. I've seen a lot of people who don't speak English with their food trucks. And I'm like, damn, how did you fill out the loan application? Y'all remember that sister who went viral last year? She had to sell her food truck and she ends up selling her food truck to an illegal. She ends up calling the bank to verify that he actually has the money that he says he has, because she has to sell her food truck that she worked hard for to a person who's not supposed to be here. Not that he's not supposed to be here, but how the fuck did he get the loan? How? She couldn't get the loan to save her food truck, so she has to sell. He can come here with zero credit, maybe a criminal history. Who knows? Because there was no paperwork done. You just get over here, pass go, collect your $200. You probably get an Obama phone. I know it's not Obama no more. You probably will get some sort of health insurance. Your children will definitely get free and appropriate public education. That's that fake that ass, that Title IX and all sorts of allowables in the school system. But, never mind that. Let's just talk about the fact that Trump has set a precedent. What precedent, Eve? Well, it's the precedent that some of these things y'all know, and you need somebody to smack you, because y'all knew the 14th Amendment was meant for the descendants of Black people who were enslaved over here at that time. Y'all knew that. Y'all knew that so much that you tried to scare niggas into voting every 4 years. Because if you don't, they're not gonna do the thing. They're gonna repeal it. What? We're not gonna be citizens anymore if they take away the 14th Amendment. What? So if y'all can say that in the 90s and the early 2000s about how you knew that if we didn't do these things that it could go away, then that means that you've known the law is alive and can be changed. Don't forget, 1992, that's the last time they gave a damn. And it was to ensure that they will always make more. They, that being politicians. So I'm sorry. I used to be so green. I used to think that people go into politics and they want to change things. I can't believe that anymore because people don't change things. They get into their position of power and they keep shit the same. Scratch that. They get into their position of power and they start trying to hablo español. What the fuck is going on, y'all? I get it. Joe Biden scared them black faces in them high places and said, you're going to have to speak Spanish because white people are not going to be here anymore. At least the white ones that speak English. I get it. That scared you. But really? I mean, Joe's been telling everybody he was trying to go to bed. The last year of his presidency, I almost said pregnancy. The last year of his presidency, he was on the beach for 9 months. What are we afraid of? Oh, is it the work? I get it. It's the work. It's probably the work because, after you get what's yours, take a page out of Haiti's book. If you're not willing to work, half your country's probably gone already. Shout out to the Dominican Republic. And you know what? Shout out to Haiti because, without your fight, they probably would have annihilated the entire country. Really. Y'all was able to get on code for a little while before, again, half, maybe more than half, but at least half the damn landmass said, this is too hard. I would rather have Poppy come over here and tell me how much cocoa I can process and how much sugar needs to be processed and give me a little trinket every now and then. And please stop whooping me. I do good for you. I do good work for you, Poppy. I'm sorry. Because it's not just this Hispanics. No, they're all scabs. And we need to do something about these scabs because I'm sorry. It's looking a little contagious. And I don't have a flea problem as much as our country has the problem with people who continue to flee. But with our current administration, maybe they will think twice. Trump set a precedent before he began his presidency this time, talking about if you've been discriminated against and was not allowed to get this job or education because of who you are, you get to sue. And all the confused voteps all over America he said that white people get to sue for race. And okay, he's white, so of course he's talking to his people, but no, the precedent. No, not the president. The precedent. Those are two different words, two different meanings, and I know the same way ethnogenesis and ethnogenocide has been fucking you niggas up all week. I guess precedent is going to have its turn, but other precedents have been set. Let's not use Trump. Let's use, the Indian Claims Commission Act of 1946. What's that? I will tell you. It's reparations for the Japanese. It's reparations for the Native Americans. It's a payment for fucking y'all up. And yeah, we did it. Yeah, I mean, we're going to say we're sorry. And yeah, this probably isn't going to begin to help repair the damages, but we want to try. If there's already a precedent, that means a standard has already been set to pay people that have been harmed, oppressed, disenfranchised, removed, ethnogenocided, and turned into a new people who, well, you got all sorts of melanated people around the world trying to claim the same papers. I mean, white people even bought their papers. But no, we can't use the precedent. Why can't we use the precedent? Do we not give a shit? Because it seems very simple. If we all understand the Constitution can be amended, then why aren't you bringing this information to your politician that you voted for? I get you didn't know before you voted for them, but now you know. You should call your local law office. You should call your local House of Representative and delegate. Let them know that some of these things can change. And it's not going to take an act of Congress. See what I did there? I made a funny, but it's not funny because Trump came in and said, Congress, what's that? I don't need them. Ship these beaners back home. And really, it doesn't seem like it matters where you're from. He's going to put you on a plane and you're going to get the fuck out of America. And I couldn't be happier. If you are a Black American who gets rounded up by ICE, are you a foundational Black American? Are you native to this land? Or did you just happen to be born here and your parents didn't want you to have to answer questions? They wanted to give you plausible deniability so that when it came time to check your papers, you could say, I don't know what you're talking about. Me and my family been here for 50 years, going on more than 50. Who knows? Because my grandma, my great grandma came from the South somewhere, and I want to say it's Louisiana, but well, now I live in Little Haiti in Florida, and what? No, we've been having family reunions since y'all parents have been having family reunions since. We've always wanted to make sure that we knew where our people were. I mean, I think that this is as old as chattel slavery and maybe even older. I just don't have enough evidence to support the older than chattel slavery. But during chattel slavery, we got permission to go down the way and meet with our family. And we got permission to go down the way to meet with our wife or our husband, to have little conjugal visits, like, prison. We got permission. We got papers. In 2025, you got people mad about having to walk around with their papers. You should be proud to come to a country that has a history of niggas fighting back because fuck your paperwork. But no, you don't get to say that because you didn't fight that fight. I don't have to walk around with my birth certificate to know I'm not going to get picked up by ICE. But if that's you, then maybe you need to do something that makes you feel comfortable here. Because if you're not comfortable here, you could go. But y'all don't want to go, right? You like it here, right? Why do you like it here? Is it because you don't have to work hard? Is it because when you got here, you could tell them niggas work harder? Do you think because you come from no plumbing that means you worked harder? Because you fled 1,000 miles through rivers and swamps and alligator-infested areas that you worked harder? Okay, I mean, shit. If you took any of that work ethic and took it home, then maybe you would have plumbing. Maybe you wouldn't have to cool your house with cow dung. But maybe you just like being green. I don't know. That one's still a conundrum to me, because if it is eco-friendly and it doesn't smell like shit, then maybe that is what you would do if you lived right on the equator. I don't. I live in a state where it snows. So, I don't know what it looks like to have to cool my house with cow shit. I also don't eat cows, so, no waste. Tonight I wanted to expose the fact that a lot of y'all are hypocrites. Every time I open my code book, I get angry because people who introduce me to the code book are not following the code. People who talk about Mr. Fuller and his work are not following the code. And I'm not here to make you feel bad about not following the code, but I do want to ask you a question. What the fuck was the point? I mean, that book is 500 pages of really big words. And you niggas is having a hard time with ethnogenesis, new people, ethnogenocide, you don't exist no more, but you read the code book. You know Mr. Fuller's code and the 9 areas of people activity, and you know what to do. He'll be 100 soon. And just like HR 40 is older than me, he's a lot older than me. And what happens when people who had the fight are gone. Does that mean that we're going to indefinitely have to fight this fight? Or can we do something else? I was talking with my good brother earlier today, and it came down to alignment. And really, this word has peered its little funny looking head into my conversations over the past week. But alignment, when we are aligned and doing what we're supposed to do, living in our purpose, things are very easy. Is it possible that you're uncomfortable with people being deported because maybe you don't know who you are? America, this is the time. And no, I don't mean spit on a stick and send it in somewhere. I mean, have you talked to your mom and your dad? You talked to your grandparents, your great grandparents, if they're still here? If you look like me, you got an auntie or a big mama in your family, and they have all the birth certificates, all the obituaries in a Bible under the bed somewhere or in the couch somewhere. But it's definitely in the Bible. Definitely in the Bible. You know, a lot of libraries, hospitals, and places that had our records were burned down. But that's not plausible deniability that they were looking for. They wanted to ensure that you could never lay claim to what's yours. But it's almost like well, you know, when they dig and they say, well, this one was black, so they got to dig a little bit deeper. And then this one was black, so they got to dig a little deeper. And this one don't have no color, but God damn it, carbon dating says this one was black too. It's like they just think if they can go a little deeper, just go a little deeper, they'll find their origin. But even that's simple. Do y'all like when things are easy, or do you like making things hard? Do you want to get there fast, or do you appreciate the journey of 40 years in the desert? I don't like organized religion, but I love the fact that the Bible is filled, it's littered with stories and symbolism that people say that they know, but then are they using it the way it's supposed to be used? You can read a book about playing basketball, but until you put a ball in your hand and you go on the court and shoot a layup, application's missing. I said this earlier today, not on this show. I said this earlier in the week. I will continue to say this. If you can't walk a mile, you shouldn't be telling anybody what to do. Because if the shit hits the fan and we have to follow your ass to safety, we're done. Because you're not the leader. Maybe you have some information. Maybe you can advise. But it's past time to be listening to people who cannot get us to where we need to get to. Have you accepted your role as the adult in the room? Because let me tell you, the way us millennials have had to go through this adulting thing, you know, we made it trendy to say, this adult thing, 3 stars, but I'd like to get a return on my purchase. How is that funny? That we get all the way to where we want to be, to where shit, we can do whatever we want to do now, and then find out that actually, no, you can't do shit. And then if you try to do something that is against what is already going on, well, if you've got the complexion for the protection, you're good. I mean, even your Mr. Ty on the screen talking with Dr. Phil a couple years ago, this incident doesn't even happen. And for real, he looks like one of the nail techs at the salon I used to go to when I used to get my nails done. I wish everybody who's supposed to be here got comfortable with the equality that they keep saying that they were fighting for. Because I never, ever, ever expected to tie in a race. What is equality? I mean, you got people, there was a, oh, let me just show it to you. Did you guys see this? Nice D, was it you? Juicy, was it you? One of y'all shared something that, I said, what in the world? And it's about our ability to be great. And, nobody likes the fact that we don't have the same symptoms and issues, and our bodies are, I don't want to say perfectly made, but, we're able to stand the times. And I mean, even back to chattel slavery, you got white people saying that, well, we was slaves in Egypt, but y'all burn in the sun. So were you enslaved in Egypt, or did you steal somebody's identity? And now you get to say whatever you want. I don't know. I think in the age of technology and in World War III, information is going to be the undoing of a lot of things. And Juicy, Nicety, I know it was one of y'all, and really I think one of you posted it and the other one commented on it, but it was a Senate hearing about some experiments. And I didn't save it. I wish I had saved it, because then I'd be able to go to it really quick. But the findings were that Black people, their bodies just do things a little differently. So they don't actually need the same schedule of vaccines that everybody else needs. No, they need a different schedule, because their bodies are not like ours. But it's almost like y'all forgot about during the experiments where they had earmarked these specific experiments for Black communities, but then white people were like, we're gonna die, we need to go to these Black communities and get all these experiments for ourselves. To their detriment, I might add. And if that's the lay of the land, and all we really have to do is get out their way, then can we get out their way? I mean, really, what's stopping you from just stepping to the left or to the right? Why do you have to be the person to save them from themselves? Because they don't give a shit about you or your salvation. If they did, native yellow people wouldn't have gotten paid reparations first. And, all of these different forms of repair for other groups who have been abused and tormented by the government in this country, it would have been prioritized. It would have been handled in the appropriate time manner. But we haven't cared enough to make them. I think we're there. I think that Trump coming back into office, not only have I heard lots and lots and lots and lots, and the number is big, like big, of Black people saying that if they get rid of all the illegals, that they will try to vote for Trump again. But, he wouldn't be the first president that served 3 terms, right? They just don't like the ones that they can't control. And if Trump is able to do things out of their control, the enemy of my enemy, he's not my friend, but
just eat, just eat.